The quantum sensors aboard the UES Hyperion lit up like a Christmas tree as Commander Elena Santos watched the impossible unfold before her eyes. 3 massive vessels, each easily dwarfing her experimental warship, had emerged from what appeared to be tears in the fabric of space itself. Their crystalline hulls pulsed with an otherworldly energy as they opened fire on a small planetary outpost in the Proxima Centauri system. Multiple energy signatures detected. Captain, Lieutenant Chen called out from his station, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. The attacking vessels are using some kind of focused gravitational weapons. They're literally trying to crush that outpost into dust. Captain David Chen, no relation to his lieutenant, stood from his command chair, his weathered face illuminated by the emergency lighting that had automatically engaged when the Hyperion's combat systems came online. Status of the outpost. Life signs detected, sir, Santos reported, her dark eyes fixed on the sensor readouts. About 2,000 individuals. Their defensive shields are failing. They've got minutes at best. The bridge fell silent. The Hyperion was humanity's first true interstellar warship, equipped with experimental technology that had never been tested in actual combat. They were supposed to be conducting their first shakedown cruise beyond Sol, not stumbling into what appeared to be an interstellar war. Rules of engagement, sir? Santos asked, though she already knew what the answer would be. Humanity had spent centuries dreaming of first contact, but not like this. Not watching an apparent genocide unfold before their eyes. Captain Chen's voice was steady as steel when he responded. The prime directive is clear, Commander. Humanity stands against the unjustified slaughter of sentient beings. Combat stations. The Hyperion's crew moved with practiced precision, even though none of them had ever faced a real combat situation. The ship's revolutionary quantum field matrix hummed to life, creating layers of probability shields that could redirect incoming fire into parallel dimensions. Sir, Lieutenant Chen called out, I've analyzed their weapon signatures. The gravitational weapons they're using operate on a predictable frequency. We can counter them. Tactical analysis. Captain Chen turned to Santos. They're bigger, but our QFM gives us the advantage of unpredictability. We can be in multiple places simultaneously, literally. Their technology seems advanced, but it's conventional. They're not ready for what we can do. The captain nodded. Deploy the MESA system. Target their weapon arrays only. Let's show them humanity's way of doing things. The multiple engagement spatial array was perhaps humanity's greatest military innovation, a system that allowed a single ship to project combat effectiveness far beyond its size by existing partially in multiple probability states simultaneously. To an outside observer, it would appear as though the Hyperion was in dozens of places at once, each version as real as the next until observed. MESA deployed. Sir, ready on your mark. Captain Chen stood, straightening his uniform. Send a message on all frequencies. First contact package included. Let's do this by the book. He paused, then added, after the message is sent, you're cleared to engage. Minimal force. We're here to stop a slaughter, not start one. The message went out in every known format humanity had theorized might be useful for alien communication. Mathematical sequences, visual patterns, and even basic particle interactions. They waited 30 seconds for a response. None came. They're powering up their primary weapons, Santos reported, targeting the outpost's central dome. That hits, everyone down there dies. Execute. The Hyperion seemed to blur, and suddenly there were 15 identical vessels surrounding the 3 alien warships. Each version of the Hyperion fired precisely calibrated quantum disruption beams, non-lethal weapons designed to disable rather than destroy. The alien vessels' crystalline hulls flickered as their weapon systems went dark. Their gravitational attacks dissipated harmlessly against the quantum probability shields. In the space of 10 seconds, humanity had just won its first interstellar battle without taking a single life. Enemy vessels disabled. Sir, Santos reported, the awe evident in her voice. Their power systems are in safe mode. We're getting emergency broadcasts from their engineering sections. Life signs. All stable. They're confused as hell, though. I'm picking up internal communications. They're trying to figure out how a single ship managed to be in 15 places at once. Captain Chen allowed himself a small smile. Open a channel to the outpost. Let's introduce ourselves properly. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a being that looked almost like a collection of geometric shapes made of living crystal. Its voice came through the universal translator they'd been broadcasting. Unknown vessel. We are the crystalline collective of the Proxima outpost. You have saved our people. Who? What are you? Captain Chen stepped forward. I am Captain David Chen of the United Earth ship Hyperion. We come from a world called Earth, and we stand against the unjustified use of force against peaceful beings. We offer friendship and request dialogue. The crystalline being's form shimmered with what their xenologists would later identify as extreme emotion. In all our history, no species has ever. The hegemony's warships were thought undefeatable. You didn't just defeat them. You did it without destroying them, without loss of life. This is unprecedented. That's humanity for you. Santos muttered from her station, though not quietly enough. The captain shot her a look, but there was amusement in his eyes. We have much to discuss, he said to the crystalline being. But first, let's secure these vessels and ensure no more violence occurs today. Would you be willing to help us establish a dialogue with our opponents? We have many questions. As the crew of the Hyperion began the complex task of securing 3 disabled alien warships while simultaneously establishing first contact protocols with 2 different species, Captain Chen made a note in his log. Humanity's first official interstellar interaction. Stopped a war. Saved thousands. Made first contact with 2 species. Not bad for a shakedown cruise. The real work, he knew, was just beginning. But humanity had announced its presence on the galactic stage, not with conquest or fear, but by defending the defenseless while showing mercy to aggressors. It was, he thought, a pretty good way to start. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Crystalline Collective sparkled like a cathedral built from living light. Captain Chen stood before the gathered representatives of 12 spatial territories, his dress uniform gleaming under the prismatic illumination. Commander Santos stood at his side, her expression carefully neutral despite the weight of 10,000 alien eyes upon them. The humans did what? The question came from High Administrator Valtech, their crystalline form vibrating with frequencies that the universal translator interpreted as disbelief. They disabled 3 hegemony warships without casualties. First Speaker Ixtol repeated, their facets gleaming with what humans were learning to recognize as pride. Using technology that by all our understanding should be impossible. The assembly erupted in a cascade of crystalline harmonics, their version of excited murmuring. Captain Chen waited patiently, knowing that what came next would cause even more of a stir. If I may, he said when the harmonics subsided, we've analyzed the data recovered from the hegemony vessels. What we found suggests this conflict goes far deeper than a simple border dispute. Commander Santos stepped forward, activating a holographic display that filled the center of the hall. It showed a complex web of spatial territories, political alignments, and conflict zones spanning nearly a quarter of the galaxy. The hegemony, she explained, has been systematically targeting quantum-sensitive species like the Crystalline Collective, not for territory or resources, but because they fear your potential to develop technology similar to ours. The revelation sent shockwaves through the assembly. The crystalline being's harmonics shifted to frequencies that made the human officers' teeth ache. Impossible, a representative from the outer territories declared. The hegemony has been our greatest trading partner for millennia, which gave them perfect cover, Captain Chen said softly, and perfect intelligence on which colonies to target first. The holographic display shifted, showing the pattern of attacks over the past decade. What had seemed like random raids now formed a clear pattern, a systematic elimination of colonies that showed signs of advancing quantum research. We found this in their tactical databases, Santos continued. They've been playing a long game, ensuring no species develops the ability to challenge their military dominance. The attack we interrupted was meant to eliminate your most advanced research facility. First speaker Ixtal's crystalline form darkened. Our children were in that facility, our future. Which is precisely why they targeted it, Chen said. But they didn't count on humanity showing up. They definitely didn't count on us having already developed the technology they've been trying to prevent others from achieving. The assembly fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity, a species that had barely begun its interstellar journey, had already mastered what the hegemony had spent millennia trying to suppress. The question now, Chen continued, is what we do with this knowledge. The hegemony doesn't know that we've decoded their databases. They don't know that we understand their true agenda. This gives us an advantage. Commander Santos brought up a new holographic display, this one showing the Hyperion's mini-ESA system in action. Our technology doesn't just let us fight differently. It lets us exist differently. We can be in multiple places at once, coordinate across vast distances instantly, and protect multiple targets simultaneously. You're suggesting an alliance, High Administrator Valtek said. It wasn't a question. We're suggesting a partnership, Chen corrected. Humanity has the technology the hegemony fears. You have the knowledge of space they don't think we possess. Together, we can stop this systematic oppression before it claims more lives. The assembly erupted again, but this time the harmonics were different. Where before there had been fear and disbelief, now there was something else. Hope. There's something else you should know, Santos added, her voice cutting through the crystalline chorus. We've analyzed your quantum sensitivity. With proper training and technology, your species could potentially achieve what we have. The hegemony wasn't just trying to maintain their dominance. They were trying to prevent the emergence of equals. First speaker Ixtal rose, their crystalline form now blazing with internal light. You would share this knowledge. Even knowing it could make us as powerful as you. Chen smiled. Where we come from, teaching others to defend themselves isn't seen as a threat. It's seen as a duty. The assembly hall filled with a harmony so pure it brought tears to human eyes. The crystalline collective, they would later learn, had not sung in unity like this since the founding of their civilization. We have much to learn from each other, first speaker Ixtal declared. But first, we have a hegemony to confront. As the assembly moved to formal deliberations, Commander Santos leaned close to her captain. Sir, are we really ready for this? Taking on an empire that spans quarter of the galaxy. Chen watched the crystalline beings as they began their voting procedures, their forms shimmering with newfound purpose. They've been playing a game of conquest and suppression for millennia, Commander. We're about to introduce them to a different game entirely. And what game is that, sir? Liberation, Chen said, his eyes fixed on the future. And humanity, it turns out, is very good at playing for keeps. The pieces were set. The ancient game was about to change forever. And humanity, the newest player on the board, had just revealed they'd been holding a royal flush all along. Admiral Sarah Chen, recently promoted after the Proxima incident, stood before the combined fleet of Earth and crystalline vessels. The Hyperion, now joined by 5 sister ships, fresh from Earth's quantum shipyards, formed the vanguard of what might be humanity's most ambitious military operation yet. The hegemony expects us to play defense, she addressed the assembled commanders, both human and crystalline. They're counting on us trying to guess which research facility they'll target next. That's not how we're going to play this. The holographic display showed 37 critical facilities spread across crystalline space, each pulsed with a soft blue light, representing the quantum-sensitive research and development that made them targets. Operation Lighthouse, she continued, isn't about defending individual targets. It's about changing the rules of engagement entirely. First speaker Ixtal's crystalline form shifted in what humans now recognize as anticipation. You've completed the modifications to our sensor arrays. Better. Admiral Chen smiled. We've taught them to dance. Commander Santos, now captain of the UES Prometheus, stepped forward. The hegemony's greatest advantage has been their ability to strike anywhere, faster than defenders could respond. They use a form of space folding that, until now, has been impossible to predict or track. She gestured, and a holographic display transformed. The 37 facilities were now connected by lines of shifting probability, each one representing a quantum entanglement link. We're not going to try to predict where they'll strike, Santos explained. We're going to make it so that when they strike anywhere, they'd strike everywhere. The assembled commanders watched in fascination as she demonstrated the new defense network. Each facility had been equipped with a scaled-down version of the Many-SA system, linked through quantum entanglement. When one facility detected an attack, all of them would instantly share the same defensive response. But the real beauty, Admiral Chen added, is what happens next. The simulation showed a hegemony attack force appearing near one of the facilities. The moment they emerged from folded space, every facility in the network simultaneously projected a portion of the combined Earth crystalline fleet. To an attacker, it would appear as though they were facing the entire defensive force, no matter which target they chose. Quantum ghosting, Santos explained. The ships aren't really in all places at once, but until the enemy commits to an engagement, they might as well be. And by the time they figure out which projection is real, we'll already be there, Chen finished. Real-time quantum entanglement means zero delay between detection and response. They won't just be fighting blind. They'll be fighting shadows while the real threat materializes behind them. One of the crystalline commanders, their form rippling with excitement, spoke up. You've turned our greatest vulnerability into our greatest strength. Our quantum sensitivity makes you perfect partners for this technology, Santos confirmed. Your natural abilities, combined with our quantum systems, create a defensive network that's never existed before in the galaxy. Admiral Chen's expression grew serious. But this isn't just about defense. Each facility in the network will also serve as a training center. While we protect these locations, your people will learn to harness their quantum sensitivity. The hegemony wanted to prevent you from developing these abilities. We're going to help you master them. The holographic display shifted again, showing projected development timelines. Within months, the first generation of crystalline quantum operators would be ready. Within a year, they would be teaching others. They've spent millennia keeping species divided, keeping knowledge contained, Chen said. We're going to spend the next few months showing them why that was a mistake. Every attack they launch will only make the network stronger. Every facility they target will become another beacon of advancement. First Speaker Ixtal moved to the center of the command deck, their crystalline form now pulsing with determined light. You're not just giving us the means to defend ourselves. You're teaching us to light the way for others. That's why we called it Operation Lighthouse, Santos said softly. Every beacon we light makes it harder for them to operate in the shadows. And once other species see what's possible, the game truly changes, Admiral Chen finished. The hegemony built their power on keeping others in the dark. We're about to show them what happens when the lights come on everywhere at once. The combined fleet began moving into position. 37 facilities, each now a point of light in a growing constellation of freedom. The hegemony had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of strategic darkness. Humanity, in its first major galactic operation, was about to introduce them to tactical enlightenment. As the ships winked into quantum alignment, Admiral Chen made a final entry in her log. Operation Lighthouse is go. Let there be light. The beacons were lit. The shadows were about to learn why humanity had never feared the dark. The hegemony's response came faster and harder than anyone had predicted. 300 warships emerged simultaneously across 15 sectors, their space-folding signatures rippling through the quantum detection grid like thunder. Admiral Chen watched from the Hyperion's command deck as the largest hostile fleet in recorded galactic history prepared to stamp out humanity's revolution before it could truly begin. They've adapted their tactics, Captain Santos reported from the Prometheus, her holographic image floating above the tactical display. They're not just hitting research facilities now. They're targeting population centers, industrial hubs, anywhere that could support the quantum network. Good, Admiral Chen said, drawing surprised looks from her bridge crew. They're scared, and they're about to learn why they should be. The tactical display showed the hegemony fleet splitting into attack groups, each one positioning itself to strike at multiple targets simultaneously. Their formation was perfect, their strategy time-tested over millennia of unopposed dominance. It was exactly what humanity had been waiting for. Execute protocol checkmate, Chen ordered. Let's show them why humans invented chess. Across 37 quantum-linked facilities, the trap was sprung, but not in the way the hegemony expected. Instead of facing phantom fleets or defensive formations, their sensors suddenly detected something impossible. Every single target had vanished. Not just the facilities. The planets they orbited, the stellar bodies around them, even the background radiation of space itself, all replaced by perfectly crafted quantum mirages showing empty, unremarkable space. Signal from the Crystalline High Command, Lieutenant Park reported. All civilian populations successfully evacuated through the quantum corridors. We have achieved total information blackout. Chen allowed herself a small smile. The hegemony had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of space-folding travel. Humanity had spent the last 3 months teaching their allies how to fold reality itself. They're launching long-range scans, Santos reported, trying to pierce our quantum veils. Should we maintain the illusion? No, Chen replied. It's time for Phase 2. Show them what they're really facing. The quantum veils dropped, but what they revealed wasn't the scattered, vulnerable targets the hegemony had come to destroy. Instead, their sensors showed them the truth. Every facility, every world they had targeted, was now surrounded by a bubble of altered space-time, where their weapons and technology simply wouldn't function. Sending transmission to all hegemony vessels, Communications Officer Patel announced. Message reads, check. The enemy fleet's response was predictable. They opened fire with everything they had. Energy weapons, gravitational crushers, space-folding torpedoes, the full might of their military technology unleashed in a desperate bid to break through. Every single attack dissipated harmlessly against the quantum barriers, their energy feeding back into the very system they were trying to destroy. Signal from Hegemony Command, Paddle reported, surprise evident in his voice. They're requesting parley. Put them through, Chen ordered. Main screen. The image that appeared showed a being composed of shifting geometric patterns of pure energy, a Hegemony High Commander. Its voice came through the translator with unmistakable shock. What are you? We're human, Chen replied simply. And we've spent the last 3 months not just defending against your attacks, but studying them, learning from them, understanding why you fight the way you do. She gestured, and the tactical display updated to show the true extent of humanity's counter. The quantum network hadn't just been defending targets, it had been analyzing every aspect of hegemony technology, finding its foundations, and systematically learning how to negate them. Your entire military doctrine is based on being able to strike anywhere, with overwhelming force, Chen explained. But you never considered what would happen if someone could simply say no to the laws of physics you rely on. In the spaces we control, your technology doesn't work because we've changed the underlying rules. The High Commander's form flickered with what might have been rage, or perhaps fear. This is impossible. No species could develop such capabilities so quickly. That's where you made your fundamental mistake, Santos interjected. You spent millennia making sure no one species could challenge you, but you never considered what would happen when one species decided to teach everyone else how to do it together. The tactical display shifted again. showing not just the 37 defended facilities, but hundreds of new quantum signatures appearing throughout the galaxy. Every species that had suffered under hegemony oppression was learning, adapting, and implementing humanity's discoveries. "Your move," Chen said quietly. "But before you make it, you should know, this isn't even our most advanced technology. This is just what we were willing to show you first. Want to see what else we can do, or would you like to discuss terms?" The High Commander's form stabilized, and for the first time in recorded history, a hegemony leader spoke words that weren't a command or a threat. "What are your terms?" Admiral Chen looked at the tactical display, at the hundreds of worlds now learning to shape quantum reality, at the combined fleet of humanity and its allies, at the future they were building together. "Let's start," she said, with the word equality. 1 year after the hegemony surrender, the Great Hall of Harmony hosted representatives from over 1,000 species. The massive structure, built through combined human and crystalline quantum engineering, existed simultaneously in multiple dimensions, allowing delegates from every environment and physical form to attend in their natural state. Admiral Chen, now serving as Earth's primary diplomatic representative, stood before the assembled gathering. Beside her, first speaker Ixtal's crystalline form resonated with pride as they prepared to inaugurate the Galactic Covenant of Free Peoples. "A year ago," Chen began, her voice carrying to each dimensional layer of the hall, "we faced a choice between domination and cooperation, between suppression and enlightenment, between fear and hope." The hall's quantum field shifted, displaying scenes from the past year. Former hegemony worlds opening their first quantum research centers, species that had been enemies for millennia learning to work together, the first graduation of multi-species quantum engineers. "The hegemony believed that power came from keeping others weak," she continued. "They spent thousands of years enforcing that belief. It took us less than 2 years to prove them wrong." Captain Santos, commanding the newly commissioned UES Enterprise, appeared via quantum projection. "The latest survey is complete, Admiral. The quantum network now extends to over 3,000 systems. Educational exchange programs are operating at full capacity." Chen nodded, then turned back to the assembly. "But our greatest achievement isn't technological. It's not the quantum network, or the dimensional engineering, or even the new forms of space travel we've developed together." She gestured, and the display changed to show something simpler. Children from different species playing together in a quantum-engineered park, each one able to exist in their natural environment, while interacting seamlessly with the others. "Our greatest achievement is this. We've created a galaxy where power comes not from what you can prevent others from doing, but from what you can teach them to do for themselves." First speaker Ixtal stepped forward, their crystalline form now incorporating patterns that would have been impossible a year ago. "The humans came to us as defenders, became our teachers, and now stand as our partners. They showed us that true strength lies not in suppressing potential, but in nurturing it." The former High Commander of the hegemony, now serving as their representative to the Covenant, rose to speak. Their energy form had evolved, incorporating elements of quantum crystalline structure that would have been unthinkable in their previous regime. "We spent millennia believing that knowledge was power, and therefore must be control," they said. "The humans showed us that real power comes from sharing knowledge, from helping others grow strong alongside you. Our greatest mistake wasn't in seeking power, it was in failing to understand its true nature." Admiral Chen smiled. "The Galactic Covenant isn't just a political alliance or a defensive pact. It's a promise we make to each other and to every species we have yet to meet. Your potential is not a threat. Your growth does not diminish us. Your strength makes us all stronger." The quantum display shifted one final time, showing the galaxy as it now existed, not as territory to be controlled, but as a vast network of interconnected points of light, each one representing a world where knowledge was being shared, potential was being realized, and fear was being replaced by hope. A year ago, humanity arrived on the galactic stage, by defending one outpost against 3 warships. Chen concluded, "Today, we take our place among the stars not as conquerors or controllers, but as teachers, partners, and friends. We bring not the power to destroy or dominate, but the power to help others become the best versions of themselves." The assembled delegates rose in a gesture of unity that transcended their physical differences. The quantum field resonated with their combined approval as the covenant was formally ratified. Later, as the celebrations continued across multiple dimensions, Captain Santos found Admiral Chen in a quiet corner of the hall. "Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this?" she asked. "When we first encountered those 3 hegemony ships." Chen watched as a group of young quantum engineers, human, crystalline, energy being, and half a dozen other species, collaborated on a project that would have been impossible a year ago. "No," she admitted, "but I hoped it would. That's the thing about humans. We never just want to win. We want to make things better. And now," she gestured at the gathered species, at the quantum marvels they were creating together, at the future they were building. "Now we get to see just how much better things can become." Above them, the quantum network pulsed with the combined knowledge and creativity of 1,000 species working together. The game had changed forever, and the galaxy was finally learning to play as one team. Humanity had arrived among the stars not with a bang, but with an invitation. "Come learn with us. Come grow with us. Come build with us." And the galaxy, at long last, was saying,